Hello, welcome to Heel Turn with your host, primetime Gilbert Furious. Uh, I'm here with our first show on the NXT podcast, where I bring you everything NXT. So we'll just kick off right away. Our first match is between West Lee and Josh Briggs. Uh, so this is a pretty crazy match because I guess West Lee was the former champ, North America champ, and then he had to get a disectomy, and he's been sidelined for the last 8 months. So he didn't technically lose his belt; he was off on injury. And he's only 5'9", so he's this tiny little dude. And then he's against Josh Briggs, who's 6'8", and it's just honestly, it's just crazy to see them stand against each other, let alone actually fight. Anyhow, the match was pretty good. I'm just in shock that this dude is like, they literally just the entire match were just going at his back and he was getting ragdolled and he seemed to be fine. So I have high hopes for Wes Lee to be okay and go on to perform well. But I personally find that a guy that small, again 5'9", and he just doesn't seem like, to me, he's a guy that could really hold his own in a match, if I'm being honest. He doesn't look like Ricochet, who's this like insane gymnast athlete. He's just kind of a small dude that it seems like he has a lot of attitude and heart. Anyhow, I'm trying not to be too judgmental of these guys, and I'm just reporting what I see. And as we go forward, we're going to kind of figure out the storyline a bit here because I'm just picking it up with you guys as we go along. Ivar, the North American champion at the moment, came to the ring, and at the end of the match, Josh Briggs and Ivar kind of started chirping and fighting a bit. And then Wes Lee did a swanton out of the ring to knock them both down. And I feel like that was kind of a nice way for him to probably get back in there and just kind of say, hey, what's up? Remember me? I'm the former champ. I feel like it would have been fair to say this is kind of an interim belt, seeing as he didn't lose. It was just kind of taken via discectomy. Anyhow, it was, I would say it was a good match, and I do look forward to kind of seeing what happens with that belt because they're making it pretty obvious, it seems, that already Wes Lee, they're throwing him right back in the mixer. All right, next up we have Carmen Petrovic with Natalia versus Shayna Baszler. It was interesting to see Shayna fighting, let alone Natalia being there, because both of them were fighting yesterday in the WWE King of the Ring. Um, it's interesting just to see like how these people in the WWE that are kind of miscellaneous, random, bottom of the roster, they are such a big part of the NXT story. It's really interesting, and I'm kind of looking forward to see as excuse me, as time goes on and I kind of understand the backstory more of the people in NXT, and then as they go up and down through WWE, just to kind of see the flow of how everything works and how they transition from, say, Shayna is like the ultimate badass woman in NXT, apparently the most dominant force. And then I'm looking at Shayna when she's in the WWE ring, and I just don't see her being the same thing she was in NXT. So it'll just be interesting to see stuff like that. The match itself, Carmen Petrovic, she's like kind of a samurai fighter, so she does a lot of kick moves, and she came out, it reminded me of Kill Bill a bit. I must say her intro was pretty cool. And then, yeah, Shayna, I just don't really see what's the deal with her. She doesn't seem very athletic. She doesn't seem like her character. I can't really figure out, but again, I'm just going to give it time to see. And then after, it cut to a thing of Chase U, where last week on NXT, there was a match between two people. I can't even remember their name, but at the end of the match, one of the Chase U women, she, instead of celebrating with the team, decked the chick that won the match. Um, and so then there was just a promo being cut of her saying like, "Yeah, I'm the best there ever was. It's my turn to go alone. Y'all never. I'm the show." That kind of thing. So that's kind of what happened, and yeah, it was interesting. Again, I feel like I'm still trying to get the flow of everything, so I can't really honestly. So there's just so many more cast members. They also did a promo for the tag teams, and the locker room is packed with tag teams, which I'm happy about because I feel like wrestling is starved for some good tag teams. We're talking back in the days when I'm thinking of like Edge, Christian, the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys. Um, there's more. I can't even think of them right now, but there's just so many good ones. And I feel like the WWE roster is kind of starved for really good tag teams. And hopefully this next batch can bring some tag teams in for us. That would be awesome. Next up, we have a tag team match between Miles Bourne, Charles Dempsey versus Tyson Dupont and Tyreek Igwe. I can't really pronounce his name. They only call him Tyreek. Um, the special guest ref was Channing Stack Lorenzo, who's some just Guido looking dude. And basically, the match started, I guess, uh, Bourne and Dempsey or some team. They have a third dude and they won like some trophy and they were flaunting it versus Tyson Dupont and Tyreek. And they were kind of getting all beefy with each other pre-match. And then they went down to the ring and there was no ref came out, and then they cut to the side and there's the announcer announces there's a special guest referee, and it shows there's this like Italian mafia looking team, and they're like kind of making it obvious that they've made sure there's a special guest, and they're like greasing the match. And then the match goes on, and I have to say all the wrestlers involved, Miles Bourne, Charles Dempsey, were very good. They had some like awesome moves. Charles Dempsey's like he like does a lot of submission and tangle ups, which was cool. And then Tyson Dupont is a monster of a dude, and he definitely has the power of those huge heavy guys, but he's more than that. He moves very well. And then Tyreek, he's a good wrestler too. Anyhow, the match goes on, and as it becomes obvious, the special guest referee is gonna make Bourne and Dempsey lose, as he does like the guy's down for half a second, he gets counted and almost loses, and then that they do a huge move on a guy and he slow counts too, and then eventually the ref Channing Stack Lorenzo attacks Dempsey, knocks him out, and gives a quick count pin. And then they all run out of the room. And then there was the women's combine, and they're just kind of showing it the fastest women and everything. And I guess the top 12 compete for a chance to become the first North American women's champion. So that's going to be playing out over the course of the next couple of weeks, I believe, or at least tonight. I think we'll find out uh, who wins the combine and starts the tournament. Next up, we have Mi Chin versus Ariana Grace. Mi Chin, I think, is going to go into the WWE. I don't know. She wrestled really well, I must say. It was noticeable. She could wrestle, and her finisher is awesome. Definitely check out Mi Chin. And then her opponent Ariana Grace is kind of weird. She's a beauty pageant queen, and she does all that, and she's against violence, but I guess when she starts getting hit, it makes her angry and she starts wrestling. She definitely, I think, is someone that's there to like, I don't think she's going to go anywhere, but she is a fun different character. She's a bit bizarre, but I do appreciate the different characters. But yeah, it was a decent match. I think Michin has a potential future. We'll see as time goes on here. All right. Next up, we had Supernova Sessions, which was a talk show promo where they talked last week about there was an envelope given to Trick Williams, the new champion of NXT. And it was played out like it was his girlfriend giving him what looked like everything appeared to be she was pregnant. So first, when they have get them all out on stage and Trick comes out, of course the whoop that Trick goes off, and I'm not gonna lie, Trick is just he's a future WWE star. His promo, the way he talks, everything is gimmick. It's just brilliant. Um, anyhow, it turns out the all it was a picture of the one of the other NXT guys that wanted to challenge him, proving that Trick lost a match because the guy's foot was under the rope, which should have meant that he didn't get counted out or something. It's kind of dumb. But it ended with Trick just I don't know. I'd highly recommend watching the promo. Tep and Dax. It's Supernova Sessions with Trick Williams, and just watch. It's hilarious, and by the end, the guy ends up knocking out Trick and holding his title. So obviously, I think that's going to be the next match. But it's more so Trick is just, yeah, he's a talent. I've seen him in the ring a few times now. He can wrestle, but just he's the next big thing I think coming out of NXT, or one of them. Yeah. So next up we have the match of Kilani versus Fallon Henley, and honestly, this match, it just wasn't that interesting. It was the one I talked about at the start, where the one chick betrayed Chase U, and they're just kind of grudging it out, but it just didn't do much for me, so I'm just gonna skip over it. And then right after that, that led into Duke Hudson and Lex King. Um, Again, it was kind of overall okay. I guess yeah, it was just an okay match. I'm not going to comment too much on it, honestly, because it just didn't interest me that much. All right. And our final bit of the segment here. So just a few notes. Duke Hudson and Lex King. Duke Hudson was part of Chase U, which I get the sense there's some like ongoing story of this like university frat style like people or something. Honestly, some of the wrestlers are in it are good, but I actually kind of think it's a weird thing being the university team and all that. And then Thea Hale. So the whole thing I was saying at the start was because Thea Hale in her last match, at the end of the match, Fallon Henley attacked her, and that was Hudson U all breaking up. And I guess they showed a replay. Thea Hale nails some chick in the nose and busts her nose like it's sideways. You can see it on her face. So if you can look that up, I would recommend as well checking out Thea Hale breaks this chick's nose, and that's kind of what it's all about. But it actually is a real nose break where you just see her, she kicks out, and I think it's her elbow as she's going through just dummies this chick's nose and instantly starts pouring blood. And then the final match was Roxana versus Chelsea Green. First off, just overall thing for this whole podcast, it's been a very nice treat to see all the WWE stars, superstars that are kind of at the bottom of the barrel. They're more like fillers or just for the big guys to beat. To see them come down to NXT and not only perform as you can see they're some of the better wrestlers by far in the ring. They also have really good personalities, and they take over all the promos, which is just cool because you're not going into the WWE and taking Cody Rhodes' spot, but I get the sense quite a few of these people, like, while they are down here, they are the big names of NXT. So yeah, it was a fun watch, and I look forward to kind of giving you more insight in how I feel on everything. But as for right now, I'm going to say it'll take about a month. So another 2-3 weeks until I actually have a full flow and kind of understand. There's one last thing, Young OG, there was a moment where in a promo, the guys that had the Supernova Sessions that attacked Trick, they came out, and Young OG kind of asked them, was like, yo, what's going on with Trick? And they basically made a thing about like go-kart out of Trick. So I'm hoping Young OG, who fights next week, and Trick eventually team up. That would be the most over-the-top thing for me, because my two top people are Trick Williams and Young OG right now. And then on the women's side, Machine is a beast. Apparently she was on WWE's SmackDown roster, but I've never seen her before. But she looks the part of it. I'm not surprised. She just looks incredibly good. And I also want to give a shout out to Thea Hale. She's over the top, but I always appreciate the over the top people, because they're just, I don't know, you don't want everyone to be over the top, but they just kind of lighten it and bring something different to the table, which I always understand. So yeah, this is our first NXT session here with your boy Primetime Gabriel Furious.
Please leave comments or thoughts and opinions. Just anything to interact with our community right now would be great. This was all brought to you by Rain City Podcast, Rain City Variety Show. Keep joining in.
Have a good night.